Grace and peace, family. I hope everybody's doing amazing today. I just got finished with the most amazing story in the Bible. Had to come and give you guys these bombs that I got. Not to mention the downloads was on fire. So let's get into this story. So the story I was in this morning was the story of Samson. In case you have not read the story of Samson and Delilah, you should definitely get into it. You're going to find that in Judges chapter 13 through 16. It's not even a long read. I suggest you get into it because he does some amazing things. Just to drop a little hint, he does kill, I think it's 1,000 Philistine men using the jawbone of a donkey. And if you heard what I said, I'm sure you're probably like, yes, the man is on gangster status. So he gets it in. Now, in this story, Samson's mother was told that she was going to have a son. Now, she is barren, so she's never been able to have children. She was told by an angel. But the only thing she needed to do was to make sure that she never cut his hair and that she abstained from any alcohol throughout her pregnancy. She was like, done deal, I want a baby. She gives birth to this son who is amazing. I'm talking about this man is strong. Now, he, grows up into the man that he's supposed to become. His parents are rearing him. He meets this woman, this Philistine woman. He falls in love instantly. Love at first sight. He's like, I want that one. She's my wife. Upon their marriage, they have a beautiful party. And he tells this riddle that he says that if they can figure out the answer to this riddle, that he will give them 30 pieces of linen, 30 sets of linen, and 30 garments. They're like, I'm down. He said, but if y'all can't figure out this riddle, you owe me 30 pieces of linen and 30 garments. They're like, okay. Tells the riddle. For 4 days, they can't figure it out, right? And now they're upset because they're like, wait a minute, this man tricked us. He's like, I think he a scammer. So they go up to his wife and they tell him, well, you need to figure out the answer to this riddle. Because if you don't, we will kill you and your father. And she's like, oh my gosh. So she goes to her husband. She's like, how could you tell him this riddle when you didn't even tell me? Tell me the riddle. And he's like, I didn't even tell my parents. I'm like, no. He does finally break down and tells her the answer to the riddle. Of course, it's day 7 and she goes and she tells them. They give him the answer and he's like, how could you have known the answer to that riddle if you've never seen me work? You don't know about these arms. So he handles them because he's like, y'all obviously did something. Now, throughout some time, they were upset. They ended up still killing his wife and her father. He wants his revenge, so he goes after them even harder. Fast forward, he now meets a woman named Delilah. Falls in love again, love at first sight, immediately. What he doesn't know about Delilah is Delilah ain't about the love. She about that bag. So she was told by the Philistines that if she can figure out his weakness, they'll give her like 75 pieces of silver. She's all for it. She's like, what? Yes. So she begins to ask him questions about, his weakness, where his strength comes from. He feeds her one story about being tied with certain ropes that were soaked in something, and she tries to tie him up and says, the Philistines are coming, as if she didn't know. He breaks out the ropes, handles business. Again, she asks him about his strength. He tells her another falsified story. She tries to bind him again, and she calls, the Philistines are coming. He busts out the ropes, handles business. Third time it happens again. And she's steady coming to him, like pleading with him, you're not telling me the truth. You don't really love me. You don't trust me. Oh my gosh. Finally, he breaks down. He tells her his real vulnerability, that he's never cut his hair. And as long as he does not cut his hair, he will maintain the strength of the Lord. Well, that night, he went to sleep, and she kindly cut his hair. And when she called out the Philistines were coming, there was nothing he can do. They bound him, they took him, they gouged this man's eyes out. They take him to the stadium where all of the heads of the Philistines are. They want to see the great Samson, which is terrible because they're pretty much running him like a circus. They want to see him do something awesome. He prays to God, asks for the strength of the Lord. Give it to me one more time, Father, so I can handle this and I can have the revenge for my eyes. The Lord says, this is what I made you for, brother. Here you go. Samson destroys the pillars of the stadium, killing all of the heads as well as himself. Now, if you're still with me, I'm sure you're like, that story is crazy. And yes, it is. Definitely read it. But nothing's going to be crazier than these downloads I'm about to hit you with. So let's start off with the fact that the biggest issue here that I've seen was Samson's lack of self-mastery. Now, if you've been with me for a bit, you know that I push self-mastery. You can't master anything in this world but you. That is what you're here to do. You should know so much about you that there's nothing more to learn. That's the point of being here, right? So if you don't know yourself, you'll fall into every trap laid in front of you. And in Samson's case, he was very lustful, and that was something he didn't seem to notice about himself. This happens very frequently, we see in relationships, where you fall in love with the outer shell of a person. You think because somebody's beautiful, or because somebody has a lot, because somebody carries themselves this way, or their name is known, that can be the person that's for you. But in all actuality, you're not really reading the caliber of that person's soul. Now, I also know that it's very common in misogynistic men to think that women are beneath them, which is probably the biggest lie being told to you by the enemy. A lot of men think that because they are clever, because they are amazing manipulators and even narcissistic themselves, that a woman cannot defeat them mentally, and it's not true. We just don't work in the same way you do, especially a manipulative woman. So where a man would use his strength to be able to get over, or his mental to get over, a woman is going to lead into getting over by using her softness, or using the facts that you think are really her. So if you think she's foolish, she'll pretend to be foolish. If you think she's naive, she will pretend to be naive. And all of this is manipulation. And until you fully understand yourself and you allow yourself to grow past only seeing the surface of a person, you'll continuously be caught in this trap. I will definitely tell you, even as a woman, a feminine, I have had my fair share of a Delilah. In my marriage, my husband was very much in competition with me. I could succeed as long as I don't surpass him. I could rise as long as if I rise and take him with me. There was no success if he could not be there to enjoy the fruit of my labor. Could I enjoy the fruits of his? No. But he can enjoy the fruits of mine. And that right there was exactly how Delilah operated. She wanted to be wealthy. And if that meant getting rid of Samson, she was willing to do it. She was willing to let that bus hit him maybe 2, 3, 4 times to get what she wanted. And it was up to Samson to see through the manipulation. He was given several red flags. Both times, both women actually both sold him out for themselves. They were very self-serving. When she was binding him and he woke up and he realized that she had bound him, he never put 2 and 2 together that she's binding him, and then for some reason the Philistines always came right after that. These were signs sent most likely from God to show him what he was up against, but he couldn't see past the fact that he didn't think that she could be manipulative enough to outsmart him. And she did. Just because the rule was he couldn't put a razor to his head didn't mean that somebody else wouldn't. And therefore she was able to take him down. Because unfortunately, he only thought he had one weakness, which was his hair getting cut. His second weakness was his lust for women. Now let's get into the second part of my downloads. Now, There was a whole nother issue that was here in this story that is easily missed, and it was the fact that he did not invoke silence when it came to talking about his endeavors. Okay, so with his first wife, he attempted to keep from her the answer to this riddle. And he did know that she betrayed him because he only told her. The only other people who would have known about his strength would have been his parents. So he knew that it obviously was her who betrayed him. Now, when he went into his relationship with Delilah, at first he force-fed her some not so factual facts. But eventually, after she leaned into him a little bit more, she played coy. She let him know, oh my goodness, I deserve to know because we have love between us. He eventually told her about his weakness. And it was in that area he made the biggest mistake he could have ever made. Because he literally told his op how to defeat him. Now this one right here is one that I know a lot of people are about to resonate with. Telling people what you're doing prematurely is one of the biggest things that the Lord advises, especially when you're working for Him. If you've ever been someone who's trying to work on a project and you notice that it comes to a screeching halt as soon as you start talking about it, that's because people are energetically sending you negativity when it comes to your project. Now, is it done on purpose? Sometimes. Sometimes you'll find people who don't want to see you succeed. So they'll send negativity toward it. Oh, I don't believe that's going to work. I don't see that happening. Please, that's all those things. But sometimes you have someone who doesn't realize that they're sending negativity toward your dreams as well. Simply with jealousy. Oh, nothing good ever happens for me. Or things such as just wanting to understand what's going on and not being able to, so since they can't see the vision can't be true. We are called to a certain amount of secrecy. You never tell everybody what's going on out there. I know a lot of people who are not happy with how secretive I am about my life. Rightfully so. And it's going to continue to be that way because I've seen plenty projects that I've worked on deeply, intensely for months go awry because the wrong person caught wind of the project. So where we can be someone who has Delilahs in our lives, where, you know, she's working against us because they don't believe in our dreams. Ooh, Holy Spirit. We can definitely have someone as well. So the idea I just had was, you can have someone ask you questions about someone else, and you unknowingly give up not only your destiny, but betray that person in that moment. The example I got was, imagine you're working on a project with someone, want to work closely with that person, and someone you know asks you questions about that other person. Why? Because they want to know where they fit in when it comes to that person. But they just want to understand how that person's character works. So they ask you questions. And maybe you're taking up for that person and you're just like, no, that's a great person. They're great at what they do. They want to become a singer. They want to become a dancer. And they're working hard at it. They're in school for it. Not knowing that the person you just told doesn't like that person. Maybe jealous of that person. Or maybe just doesn't want to see you with that person. So now they're sending the negativity. And you have unknowingly betrayed not only the destiny of that person, but betrayed your future with them as well. This happens very frequently. This is why we are called to not show your hands before the time comes. Because you never know if you're talking to someone who's working with you or against you. And the ones who's working against you, they're keeping it silent that they're working against you. The same way how you should have kept it silent yourself. Now, this doesn't mean to now think that people are just out here working against you. It just means that the enemy can use anyone. This is the prevalence of a monitoring spirit. So if you have any sort of spirit that you're still working on, and anyone who's not fully healed, which almost nobody is, can be inhabited by a spirit. The enemy uses those spirits to gather information, and that's how he destroys projects, destinies, the fate of people of the Lord, just simply by listening and pulling that information and then sending an energetic negativity toward it so that it does not flourish. It's up to us to be mindful and to protect our destiny with everything that we have. Now, of course, you'll pivot. You'll go into something different. But I will say, most of the time, the things that you're working on are things that are true to your heart. Imagine working deeply on a project that you're so passionate about and having to call that passion quits because the wrong people came in and was able to disrupt it. And it's usually the ones closest to us. Now, that doesn't mean we got enemies in the camp just waiting to pounce. It means people aren't healed enough and they're able to be used by the enemy because they haven't healed enough. These are really important points. Staying silent, making sure that you don't work against your own destiny by being too loose-lipped. Mastering yourself, understanding who you are, what makes you operate, where your flaws and weaknesses are. Not so you can say, I got rid of them. No. So that you can understand them and know how to work against them. If you're someone who tells people out of your business, which, to be honest, we are living in a time that is groomed for it. Why do you think social media is such a good thing? The enemy has created an actual hub where we tell our business happily, willingly, and without any restrictions. You're going into law school, and as soon as you hit graduation, you post a picture of it. You went to a new endeavor. You went to, a seminar. You posted yourself at the seminar. People saw it. Someone's jealous. And a lot of people get to see it at one time. So you're getting a lot of negativity and energy being sent away. People not recognizing how this world is just working against you. Pay attention to the way that you operate. Don't get caught up like a Samson. And definitely don't become a Delilah. But pay attention because you may have a lot of Delilahs planted all around you. And this is why your business can't succeed. This is why your endeavors are slow. This is why you can't find joy in the little things because you got people who are wishing for you to not have happiness. Take the time to get to know you. Make sure you read the Bible because I'm telling you, these stories, they were made for you. I'm going to leave this right here, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got all of the benefits out of this. I'm going to go. Love and light and peace.